running probably the most important cable that we have in our system. This is going to lead to our hybrid system. So it's going from here, through here, underneath, through here, under, into the motor controller. This is for the hybrid system. So that is our longest run, and that's the one that actually goes to the Yanmar engine with the hybrid system on it. So very important cables. These two will run from here. There's going to be a double pole switch here, so we can disable it, disconnect it. Another one for the starboard side will be mounted right here. Want to give it or put it in a place that's going to be easily accessible so we can flip those on and off. But this cable is probably one of the most important, leading from that battery bank. So what it does is it feeds down through a little grommet in there, in through this guy, and into the conduit that leads transverse side to side across there. And then it comes out over where Jess is on the other side and into that motor controller. We'll start feeding this through. We've got our little lines ran, so the fish tape worked there. Shockingly, this is going easier than it should. Let's see how Jess is doing. You got your little line.
Yep. Still coming. And we have wire coming out this end. We're good. Okay. Now we've got the other end out.
Look at that beautiful tape job I did. Isn't that pretty?
It worked.
It worked. I actually can't believe it didn't get caught on the edge of the conduit at all, but they made it through. So number one is done. We'll end up adding the positive through next. I wanted to get this guy because, so we have 50 feet of 2-aught cable. For the negative for the ground, we won't have as many runs, so we won't use as much of it. So that's the reason why I ran this one first, is to make sure I'm getting all my math right, because of course with this being the longest cable, I don't want to cut up my reel and for the shorter runs and then realize I don't have a long enough length to be able to run the last bit. So starting with this guy, and then everything else will hopefully fall into place. I think I have my math right, I'm not sure. And that's what sucks about running the wires right now, is everything gets nice and dusty still, because we're of course not done with sanding. Underneath the floor here, this is where the wires will be running up into this. Here, I'll show you real quick if we can. So there's the motor controller. They will feed through those little grommets down there, or the conduit down there. In those conduit pieces, they do have little grommets that go over the top of them to kind of soften that edge. I found out there's desk grommets. They're made for running wires through like a desk to make it nice and neat to run to like a monitor, computer type of thing. And they make nice little silicone rubber ones that work perfect. They fit right within that hole, and make a nice, real soft exit point, so we don't have to worry about chafe then at all. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Oh, you can see it a little bit better there. So that is all the conduit. Some of those lead back into the engine bay. Some of them lead from the other side, from the starboard side. And so these are the little rubber desk grommets that fit right directly in my conduit and give a nice soft exit. That little black guy right there. So then we don't have to worry about the edge being hard or anything like that, where it runs up here. It's colored ground.
Some of the decisions we've made on this build actually started years before this boat even existed. Our previous aluminum sailboat came with hatches from several different manufacturers, but after years of living aboard and sailing everywhere from the Caribbean to the Arctic, the one from Vetus consistently proved itself to be our favorite. It was reliable, watertight, and never gave us a reason to doubt it. When we started planning this catamaran, this experience led us to reach out to Vetus in the first place. Later on, we had the opportunity to visit their U.S. headquarters in Maryland, where we could see their entire lineup of hatches in person instead of just flipping through a catalog. Now, after all this time, we're finally at the point where we could begin fitting the frames to the boat.
So the hatches behind me are not being permanently installed. This is just a temporary. I have to go through and drill out each one of the locations for that. And those little screw inserts that I've been using in other places for the foam core, those are what's going to be actually holding the hatch in place. As you can see, the other option is to through bolt them, and I do not want them through bolted. So that was the compromise we made, and that's the reason why I've been testing them thoroughly in the other areas for pull out strength and all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that this was a valid approach to the installation of those hatches. Right now I'm just going through and setting them in place, leveling them out, and making sure that everything was cut the way it was supposed to be. There's about a millimeter or two gap around there, so I need to go through. You can see probably in the far one that there's little tongue depressors underneath there to get them in the proper position. Then I'll go through and mark each one of the drill points on the outside, drill them, decore that, and install those little inserts in there to hold that into place. I'm going to start the project of putting in those mounts, the screw holders for the hatches. They're going to go right up here. You can see I got one roughly in place right now. So typically not what you want to do, but in this case I kind of need these just to be the bottom frame instead of the frame with the glass in it, the acrylic on it. So I'm just going to unbolt this currently, these mounts, and get just the aluminum part. It's going to make it a lot easier because I'm using this kind of as a drill guide to make sure that I'm getting all the holes exactly where they need to be, make sure that it's all square. And I can't quite do that with this in place because it gets in the way. Again, normally you don't want to pull these things off because they all are aligned, but I'm just going to sacrifice it and go through and do it this way, and then I'll spend the time later making sure that's all right installed again. And of course I forgot to get the one screw inside. And get those screws out, put them in a little Ziploc bag so I don't lose these.
Put them somewhere safe where we can lose them.
Yep.
Once they're all together.
Our typical way of operation.
Put it somewhere safe and never find it again.
Yep. Well, yeah, usually what happens is I forget to label the bag, and then I see them again and go, oh wow, I can use these for something else. Use them in another place, and then get completely confused as to why I can't find them. Alright, so you are separated. We'll put you back in the box. Now I have just the frame, so it makes it very easy. Can plop it into place and figure out where I need to put the holes in, decore it, and start that process.
We chose Vetus flush mount hatches because of their clean, low-profile look, but achieving that look starts long before they're permanently installed. Every opening was cut by hand around the exact dimensions of the hatch, and every frame still has to be individually fitted before we commit to drilling the first hole. This is one of those jobs where spending an extra hour now can save days of frustration later. It's not just about appearances either. Taking the time to get each frame perfectly centered and level helps ensure the gasket can press evenly all the way around once the hatch is installed. That consistent pressure is what causes a reliable seal, keeping rainwater and boarding seas where they belong, outside the boat. Matt has always been the kind of builder who is willing to spend extra time chasing perfection. It can test my patience every now and then, but I also know it's one of the reasons this boat is turning out the way it is. Once these frames are bonded in place, there's really no easy way to make adjustments, so now is the time to be picky. These are the kind of details that most people will never notice when they step aboard, but they're exactly what separates something that simply fits from something that's built to perform for decades. With the frame held exactly where we want it, the factory drilled holes become our guide for marking the cabin side. By drilling through the frame itself, every fastener ends up exactly where Vetus intended it to be. There's no measuring, no transferring dimensions, and no chance of introducing small errors that could throw off the hatch alignment. If you've ever wondered why marine hatches use so many screws, it's because every one of them helps apply even pressure around the entire gasket. Unlike a house window that's protected by walls and a roof, these hatches have to withstand driving rain, green water coming over the deck, constant UV exposure, and years of the boat flexing at sea. Distributing that clamping force evenly is what helps maintain a reliable seal for decades.
Got everything all prepped now, using the Total Boat Thicko epoxy. Each one of them are pre-installed. Now these have all been wiped down with denatured alcohol, so they're a clean surface, abraded, and then this is a row of magnets that are going to go down in the base of the hole. So the idea is going to be each one of the holes that go through here, which lead all the way down basically to the fiberglass on the inside here. I'm going to put a magnet on the inside of that, and then hopefully when we have our hatches in place, we'll be able to use just a net screen that will have magnets in it as well that should attach along here and hold it in place. So when not in use, pull it and there's nothing, there's no fasteners. I played with it just for a few minutes just to see how well that's going to work. With two magnets locked into each other, it seems to be very strong hold on that, and so hopefully we won't have a problem with it. Biggest issue is going to be when we install them is just aligning each one of those little nets, but again, they're just going to be up there temporarily. I hope it works. If not, I have magnets in there. That's not the end of the world. Just metallic things will stick to it. So right now it is a beautiful day, about 68 degrees, so it should give me at least a little bit of work time with the epoxy. Gonna start vacuum out these holes again just to make sure there's nothing left over in them, and then I'll go through and start filling them with epoxy, shoving a magnet in, and then shoving in that little fastener piece that's going to hold our screws in place.
Weekdays, your texts are like a drug.
Since last year went by in such a blur, with the build taking up all our attention, we've made a pact to get out more this summer and enjoy ourselves.
Again, another ride on Ryan and Sophie's wooden boat that they built at Chesapeake Lightcraft the other year and I lent a hand on.
Today, we're putting down the sanding blocks in favor of a fresh breeze in our hair and water beneath our keel. Setting off from Spa Creek in Annapolis, we admired the waterfront homes lining the shore, while Ryan quietly guided us along under electric power.
Ryan's new project is the woodwind. About to take a sweep down Ego Alley, which is kind of busy. There's a few people out at Top Tank, but mostly at the Fleet Reserve. And where Hustlers Run used to be, I'm sure people who have come to the Annapolis Boat Show are used to it being in this little strip right here. It's been taken out, and they're going to put an Italian restaurant and something else in there. But Yeah, there's lots of changes happening down here, so kind of fun to see it from the water side. It's kind of funny how just going from like Spa Creek into Severn River is rough.
Well, you got fetch now.
There's lots of traffic out today too. The Woodwind's getting its sail up. Make sure to book cruises on the Woodwind if you're in town. Beginning our way back into Spa Creek right now, but it's always fun coming back in because over there we have the Naval Academy, and then we get to see the Capitol, the state capital of Maryland back there, which was actually the original capital of the country. I always like to remind everybody. But just a wonderful Sunday out on the water, so thanks to Ryan. You're the best.
Japan.